Hey guys, this is Chelsea with Simple Cottage School, and today we're going to be making an herbal liniment. Now, this is going to include several different ingredients, so why don't we go ahead and get started and go over those. So we are getting ready to make our herbal liniment, and we have an array of ingredients here. So let's go ahead and let's go over what those are. I have half an ounce of lobelia. I have half an ounce of myrrh gum right here. I have a quarter of an ounce of cayenne pepper. I have an ounce and a quarter of eucalyptus. I also have witch hazel. I will need 8 ounces of witch hazel. I have isopropyl alcohol. I will need 8 ounces of isopropyl alcohol. And finally, I am going to need camphor tablets. Now, if you've never seen these before, they come in little blocks of 4. And you can see this package. We are going to take these and put them in our mortar and pestle, grind them up to put into our liniment. You do need to be careful with these. Sometimes they look a little bit like candy. They are not. And they have a very, very strong smell. So watch out with camphor. We need a little bit of equipment. Like I said, we need the mortar and pestle. I also have my big measuring cup here. And it's all going to go in this mason jar for now. So let's go ahead and let's get ready and put it together. All right, so the first thing I'm going to want to do is I want to crush up my camphor blocks. So I'm going to take 2 little blocks out of the package here, put them into my mortar and pestle. Put those out there. And they crush up just really easy. It doesn't take much at all to crush them up. It's almost like crushing a block of wax. So not much to that. So once you're done with that, you can go ahead and we're going to put all of our herbs into our jar before we add in the alcohol. So we'll add our camphor in very first thing. Here it goes. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to add in our herbs. So I'm going to put the myrrh in first. There we go. Next one I'm going to put in is lobelia. You can kind of mix those up a little bit as you're putting them in to make sure that they're evenly distributed. I have eucalyptus, my eucalyptus next. I'll put it in. And I've measured these out when I bought them, so I know the exact right amount. And the last thing we're going to put in is our cayenne pepper. So, all right, so now we have all of our herbs in there. Put this to the side. So the next thing we're going to do, we are going to go ahead and put in our witch hazel and our rubbing alcohol. So let's get out our measuring cup. Put in 8 ounces of isopropyl alcohol. You might want to pour it in slowly. Alright. And we're going to put in 8 ounces of witch hazel. Alright. Okay. I wondered if that was enough. Alright, so it looks like we still have plenty of room in there. So I'm actually going to go ahead, I'm going to add in another half a cup each of isopropyl alcohol and witch hazel. So it should fill that to the top. There's one. All right, here's this one. Okay, so we actually ended up putting in about 10 ounces of each in. So now it's all in there. We're going to go ahead, cap it up tightly. Make sure your lid is on really good and tight. You're going to shake the daylights out of that thing. And so there it is. We're going to let this sit up for about a week or two. And when we're done, we will strain it off. And I will show you how we apply it. So I'm going to put this up, and I'll see you back here in about a week or two. Hey, so we are back here today with our herbal liniment. It's been about a week since we've made it, and I've got it right here. You can see that the liquid in there, the witch hazel and the alcohol is pretty dark. It's ready to go. So I'm going to show you how we are going to strain it all and then give you some tips on how to use it. So let's get started. So here we are with our things that we need to strain our liniment off. Of course, I have our liniment that's been sitting here for about a week. I have a clean mason jar. I have a funnel that I'm going to use to put it in bottles. I have a rubber band and a piece of cheesecloth that I'm going to use to strain it off. And of course I have a couple of bottles here as well. So let's go ahead, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the clean mason jar and I am going to put some cheesecloth over it, and I'm going to kind of make a little divot in here before I put my rubber band around it. And sometimes you have to give it a little bit more of a divot in there after you put your rubber band on to make sure that you have room to hold those herbs. Okay, so with that done, we are going to open this up and just whip pop. Whew, it is very, very strong. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to strain it off. Don't stick your nose too close to it when you do this, but you can smell it. Give it a little bit of a smell. So I'm going to drain it off as much as I can. And the herbs are starting to come out a little bit. But you can see most of what's in there is herbs. And the herbs expanded quite a bit. I'm going to let it drain off completely here. So that's good. And if you really want to, you can let those herbs sit there for a while to make sure you get every little bit of the liniment out, but you don't have to do that. All right, so I've got my liniment drained, and I'm going to take this off and let it continue a little bit to drain down in there. There, I've got enough to fill my jars, so we'll just take our jars and I'm going to strain it off into the jars. I need a smaller funnel. I've needed a smaller funnel for a long time, but I keep forgetting to get one. So for now, this works. So I'm going to fill my bottles, and watch your bottles carefully so you don't overflow them. All right, that was just about perfect. Now, cap it up, and when you cap it up, make sure that you label it, especially as strong as this stuff is. You want to know what is in that bottle when you go to reach for it. I have face toner that is in bottles like this. And if they were sitting side by side and I was in a hurry and I grabbed the wrong one because it wasn't labeled, I would not be a happy camper. So always, always, always label your bottles. Drain off this one right here. Stay in there. Really need to get a new funnel. Okay, there we go. Right. All right. Got a little bit left over. I'm going to use that for a third bottle, but I made two good sized bottles there. So that's all there is to it. Let's go ahead and let's talk about how to use a liniment. Right. So we are here with our 2 bottles of herbal liniment, and I'm going to tell you real quick how to use it. Just a few things before you get started, before you use it. Remember what we put in it. It has camphor in it. It has cayenne in it. And before you take it and you put it all over your body, you want to make sure that it is not going to cause a reaction, because it does have some pretty strong stuff in it. So always do a little patch test on the inside of your forearm is the best. And then if that works out okay and you don't have a reaction, then you can go ahead and use it. The way I like to use it is I take, I have a gauze pad here. I'm going to open it up real quick. There we go. And you can just put a little bit onto your gauze pad. And I'm just going to show you on my forearm. I'm just going to wipe it in a little square on my forearm. Now, I usually don't use it on my forearms. I usually use it on my shoulders because that's where I'm sore. Now, some people will put it in a spray bottle and use it that way. I don't feel like I have quite the control over it that I would like to have, so I don't do that. I just use my little gauze pad and I can put it exactly where I want it. And that's all there is to it. So I hope that you try this, and I hope it works out well for you. And I hope it soothes all those sore muscles. And I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.